Good morning, awesome friends. I wish you a very blessed Easter, and I hope that you will remember the true meaning of Easter and the sacrifice that was made. And I wanted to show you two little quirky things that I have on my desk today. So, I love thrift shopping, and I found the most beautiful vintage egg holder. Isn't this too cute? So I had wonderful plans to do these concrete eggs. I just haven't had the time. Anyway, and then this is a typical South African chicken made from seeds. So it's pumpkin seeds, sunflower seeds, and other tiny little seeds. And I bought this many years ago from a street hawker. So that's my little Easter chicken. Isn't he cute with his wire legs? So today I thought I'm running out of ideas to teach you, and I'm obviously going to have to start repeating certain things, but I had some scraps on my desk and I thought I'd show you what I did with them. So here I have some 70 micron tape. It's thicker, it's similar weight to pewter, as you can see. This is also 70 micron and this is 70 micron. And then just for refresher, this is the 30 micron, very easy to crumple, and the 70 micron, there's a piece not so easy to crumple, you can see. Okay, so we are going to use some scraps to create some ATCs today, and I wanted to show you, I have embossed these with an embossing folder and my Big Shot. I'm not going to do that online because you can go and Google how to do that, or go and check out tutorials on YouTube. There are so many of them. But this little embossing folder didn't go through the machine very well. I actually broke my little cuttlebug that I had in December. So you can see that the imprints here were very kind of faint where they should be deep. And I never throw anything away. So what I've done is I've doodled on half of this, just so you can see how you can recycle things that you would normally just toss because they're not perfect. I really believe imperfection has its place in the world because nothing is perfect. So you can have a look and see all the different little techniques that I've used. I've used swirls, little shells, like a star, a little flower, a little vortex. Just use whatever you think and create some interest. And we're going to do the ATCs with a mixture of 70 micron embossed tape and some scraps of the 30 micron tape, the thin tape. So what I'm going to do here is covering about half of the ATC. For those of you who don't know what an ATC is, it's an artist trading card. And I quite enjoy making these. They are fun to include in your journals or your happy mails. And there's a huge following of people that actually trade ATC. So there you go. I've kind of covered about 2/3 of my ATC. Okay. Using my card, credit card, or this is from a gift from a friend, just flatten your 30 micron thin tape. Whoopsie. I'm going to trim the back. Okie dokie. So I hope you are all enjoying time with family or friends on this Easter weekend, and also just a big shout out to all of those people in essential services that work on the Easter weekend. We appreciate you. And a challenge to all my followers that you too can make a difference. It doesn't cost a lot, just a little bit of time, and if you can, go and donate blood. Save a life. I'll try and do that as regularly as possible. See, I trimmed this a bit skew. Sorry guys. There you go. Okay, so there are my two ATCs partially covered. And now a few of you have asked me about tools. I don't often use tools, but there is definitely a place for them. And I have a few of these texture tools or texture rollers. They are used mostly for pewter. And yeah, if you've got some, dig them out and you can have a bit of playtime with them, but don't rush out to buy them, and especially if you want them in South Africa, they're very expensive. So I have a few. I think there's one or two more, but I can't be bothered to look for them. And what we're going to use is some texture around the edges here. So I have different ones. This is sort of, I don't think you can really see it, little circles, and that's a big chevron, and that's a bigger chevron, and this is like little lines. So whatever tool you have, I think we're going to use the big one, and I'm working off the edge of the card because I only want the edge. And you will see I'm using sort of an up and down motion because it makes the imprint a little bit better than if you just do it once. So your impression is a little bit deeper. So there you go, you've got your edging done. And let's use another one. So let's use this tool. Slow and steady gives you the better impression. So often on the borders of my ATC, I will use my texture wheel, and there you go, I've done that. I think I'm quickly going to cover a third card because I want to show you another thing you can do. Okay. Trim that. I seem to have twisted this. I didn't take the backing off properly, that's why. You can see there's a little piece of backing on there. That's better. Okay. And trim that. And here. And here. Okay. So another thing you can do with your texture wheel is when you want to have some interest on your background, you can roll it over everything, the whole area, and it gives some interest. Okay, so we've done those 2 pieces or 3 pieces, and now to ink it using our fat Sharpie. So remember, this is the 30 micron tape, crumpled up and then put onto the card. So this is to use your scraps that you have. Sometimes you don't have enough to do a whole card. So what does one do? You make a plan. Okay. And I think that's what art's all about, is there's no right or wrong in artistic expression. And we all have our favorites, our favorite mediums, our favorite artists. What appeals to me may very well not appeal to you. But that's the beauty of art, that you can create the things that you love. Or if you can't create that, you can actually appreciate the things that you love. So now we are going to buff off the ink with our nail buff, and my nail buff is coming to the end of its life. It still does its job though. Okay, and the last one. And already the hands are dirty. So here we have 2 partial backgrounds, and we are going to play further. I'm taking this away. Okay, so getting back to what we had here, I am going to doodle a few odds and ends for you, just so that you can see the process that I used. And I seem to have misplaced my pen. Now, there you go. I prefer doodling on the thick tape with a ballpoint pen because it glides very nicely. So we are going to create a few extra doodles. whatever you think you could do here. There's a twirl, and there I went out the line, but it really doesn't matter. And here we go. I'm just circling those, and I'll probably have to repeat a few patterns because I can't really think of any new ones. Plus the area that I'm decorating is really small, so you're kind of limited into what you can do. And let's do, I like this chevron look, and small circle, medium circle, large circle, and then the bigger one. And let's do some zigzaggy lines and scribble. Of course, our famous scribble has to come in, and I think that's about it. So now what we're going to do is cut this. So I have one piece like so, and I'm really guesstimating where I should cut it here so that it's about half. Okay, so I have two pieces, and the reason I have two pieces is I want to decorate two cards, but you can use a bigger piece. I'm just showing you what to do with small scraps that you would not normally know what to do. And let's kind of line that up. This one also, sorry, can't seem to get the backing off very well today. There you go. And up. I didn't cut this very straight, that's why I'm struggling. Okay. All right, so now your thick 70 micron tape has a bit of dimension, you can see. And for this video, I'm actually going to flatten it. Okay, so I've flattened it, flattened there. But you don't have to do that because you get rid of your dimension as soon as you flatten it. And the dimension is actually lovely, but I just feel like flattening it today. But you can leave the dimension, it really does make a difference. Here we go, here we go, and here we go. Just, I find it's easier to trim your 70 micron tape with a pair of scissors than with the blade. Sometimes the blade hooks on the 70 micron tape and can actually tear it, especially if it's been embossed, because then it's not even. Sorry, my scissors have already got glue on it, so I'm struggling to cut. Okay, so here we have two really nice backgrounds. Just like that. And just something to mention is that the 70 micron tape, apart from the doodles that I've put on it, I have not inked the 70 micron tape, and I've deliberately left it uninked because I wanted the contrast. Okay, so this one is a little scrap that I have left, and again using the pen, and I'm only going to make circles, I'm not going to do anything fancy here. Just doing some circles. Okay. So there you go. Okay. And then using my steel wool technique, just going to take some of the shine off. Okay. And sorry, I don't want to ruin my table here, or my mat, should I say. And this one we'll ink. I just want to show you the difference in using two pieces of the same embossed 70 micron tape in two different techniques. Okay, so we'll let that dry for a moment. There you go. So for the South African friends, I have about 40 different types of embossing folders. So if you're looking for something specific, let me know, because I do sell the embossed pieces like this. Okay, so as soon as it's dry to touch, we can buff it up. Okay, and using my lappy, just wiping off some of that excess, and now we have a piece for here. And okie dokie. I see it wasn't buffed properly. Okay, so this is actually a fun way to use your scraps. Even if you don't know what you're going to make with the backgrounds, I often, sorry, I see I've left a piece of tape, a piece of backing here. I don't know if you can see. I often make background cards and just put them aside for later when I have some inspiration on what I can do with it. And there you go, that's also trimmed. And also going to flatten that. Okay, so we have three background cards that we have now made using scraps of 30 micron and 70 micron. And you should be able to see the difference there. That is your texture wheel background, that is your crumpled tape, and that is your crumpled tape. Okay, so now what are we going to do with these? So I thought this is a bit time consuming, so I can't do it online, but just a tip. You can color your metal tape with your alcohol ink before you emboss the sheet. So that's exactly what I did here. I colored it before I embossed it. And I just want to grab something of reach. And with these colored pieces, I often have scraps. So I thought I would just show you this. Okay, so from this lovely paisley embossed sheet, I actually fussy cut a whole lot of bits and pieces. So this is from the paisley embossing sheet. Sorry, that was a bit out of focus. And I wanted to just show you what I'm going to do with that. So using these little bits and pieces, also once again they were scraps, I am going to decorate this. Nothing against the line here. And I find this really a lot of fun. The one thing that I wanted to mention on these little pieces, I didn't use the, sorry, my mind's gone totally blank. Use the nail buff or the little buffing block before I cut them out because I was doing a different project, so I wanted to try something different. But you can obviously emboss, well, not emboss, buff them out. I'll show you now. Okay, so here we are just using our scraps. So I wanted to share something fun with you. I sometimes write. It's sort of very cathartic for me to put my thoughts on paper. Sometimes it's not so easy to verbalize how you feel about stuff, but for me it seems to be easier to write about the things I feel. And I'm so excited to share that I've been published in a little South African poetry book called Kloof, and I had 5 of my poems published this week, so I'm very, very excited to share that with you. But if you want to follow my writing, I have a Facebook page called A Complicated Original, so please give me a follow if you can on Facebook. There you go. So there you go. Using just bits and pieces that I had left from a previous project, we are making some really awesome ATC. And you can see I'm lining them up on the join. So I'm actually highlighting the pattern. I think it's going to look really cute to do that. And let's get another piece. I like this. And the paisley design is so pretty. Let's put that like so. And another piece like that. So 3 lovely little cards made with scraps from a previous project. So there you go, my little scraps. Still got a couple more, so who knows what I'll do with those. Okay, so now before I flatten them, I'm just pushing them down with my finger, and remember that it is 70 microns, so it's got a little bit more interest than your flat pieces of 30 micron. And now gently, because they're fussy cut and they've got hooky pieces, and I'm actually quite glad that happened so I can show you. I hooked the end there, so just be very careful. And in future also, buff before you fussy cut. A bit difficult to do it after the effect. So just gently. Try not to hook anything. Just makes it pop a little bit. Okay, and then I'm flattening it because I want it flat, but you don't have to flatten it. And here I have 3 lovely little ATC. They can be used just as is, or we can add a little bit of fun. So I have these beautiful words that I made a while ago in a previous project, and I actually thought I'm going to use them today. So these 3 were with a texture plate, a door and heel, and I've got embrace and Oarsum. Should do Oarsum because it's Awesome Crafts. And then the little love I did freehand, but I think today I'm going to use these. So this was done on aluminium foil, so it doesn't have a backing, and it's quite difficult to glue them down. And the only thing I find that works for that is your double-sided tape. So here's my big roll of double-sided tape. And this double-sided tape is more sticky than the metal tape. Okay. And that is all I'm going to do. If I can get the backing off, let's stick one over here. Say a door and another piece. And let's put the heal. We all need to heal from the pain in our pasts, even the pain in our future. We all carry around hidden pain. So. Heal. And so which one should we do? Embrace or Awesome? I think we've got to do Awesome because I'm Awesome Crafts, although this is spelled differently, but I don't like that one. We're going to do Embrace. So Embrace, and Embrace is a little bit narrower, so I have to trim this very sticky tape. Okay, that should fit. Yep. And you can see the tape is stuck on the scissors. There you go. Get that off. Okay, so we have put embrace and heel. You can feel it. It's got a nice raised area and then a door. So that's what we've done today. And I think just to finish it off, because we were playing with texture wheels, I'm going to take one of the narrower texture wheels that I have here, and I want to show you a little trick because I can never draw straight. So I need to just grab my ruler. Oopsie. Put my ruler, you can only do this if you are doing a straight line, and then I line my texture wheel against the ruler, and I want to do the edge here. So now my edge was using the bigger chevron because I used it there. I want to match that up. And this, once again, just finishes your project. Okay, and then this one, also going to, my ruler's a bit funky. And this one we covered the whole background on the side there with the texture wheel, but I'm going to use the narrow one for the edging. I find, and I've said this a lot in videos, in tutorials, that it really looks nice when you make a border around everything. It finishes your project off. And often we think we finished a project and we look at it and something's missing. I promise you, put a border on it and it looks like a totally different project. So I encourage you for this tutorial to use your borders. Now this one we use the funky little sort of circle pattern. So once again, I'm going to use that there. Short strokes gives a clear pattern. And you can have a look at Esmeric Art. My friend Esme has a lovely tutorial on how to use these texture wheels, so please pop over to her channel, Esmeric Art. And then here, because I don't have a straight hand, I'm using my ruler. Alrighty, so I think we're all done. Pattern everything nicely. Don't have any hooky things. I do have a hooky thing there. I'll just run my hands gently over that to see that everything is nice and flat. That one's also fine. So happy Easter, and yes, may your faith carry you through the difficult times and heal from any pain that you may have so that you can embrace life to the fullest. Have a very blessed day.